Please welcome to the stage Senior Vice President, Oracle Cloud, Steve Dahib.
Wow. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Ashish? I'm glad you made it, man. How's everybody, guys? Thank you so much for making it today. In this theater, I thought I'd take a different approach and talk about cloud and interpretive dance. So I thought, sometimes that's just how I like to express myself. But no, don't worry about that. It's actually not going to happen. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a really important week for us. And I think heading into this week, we've really seen an incredible amount of momentum. Not only in customer adoption, we're thankful for all the customers that are joining us this week. I'll be joined by some customers today who are going to tell their stories. But really the pace of innovation that we've been delivering to market. Just when you think, we've delivered a lot, Larry announced his 53, 57 last night. So we're really excited about the pace of change. And I think any discussion around change is, has to center around this incredible transformation that we're seeing in the market today. Cloud really is changing everything. It's changing how businesses run and people work. It's creating new categories. It's disrupting existing categories. It's happening at this incredible pace, and it's here today. And for our customers, they're looking for a bridge to the future, one that helps them preserve and protect the investments they continue to make on-prem, but provides a thoughtful path to the future. And when we talk about transformation, we got to look at what's going on with respect to these emerging technologies spanning AI, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, these digital assistants that are revolutionizing our user experience. And we're seeing these permeate every aspect of work and life, from self-driving cars to precision agriculture to smart cities that are changing the way we interact with the world around us. They're fundamentally driving that transformation in an amazing way. But I think when you actually look at what's going on, we're moving. We're at this tipping point where these emerging technologies are really now becoming a reality. And I think Oracle's really leading that way in terms of taking these technologies and building it into our offerings so they provide out-of-box value for our customers. Right? So we're helping to lead that way. And it's sort of interesting to see where we came from, right? We went from this industrial revolution to what we call the information age, right? And it was a time that was based on an economy based on information technology with networks, compute, and storage, and data was sort of central, and we were born in that age. If you think about Oracle, we began with the belief that the foundation of information technology was actually helping to manage that information. And those are things we continue to do today, and we believe that we're on the precipice of a new age. One that is based on automation. We call it the automation age or the age of autonomous or whatever term you want to use. But we believe this is one of the most important technology shifts of our lifetime. Emerging technologies, particularly around automation, are reshaping our approach to IT, allowing us to free our budgets, free our resources, and free our imaginations to focus on innovation and growth in ways we couldn't before, and do that while we're also reducing cost and reducing risk. Right, so this is really powerful technology that we're at the leading edge of. And at the end of the day, we believe that this creates incredible opportunities for both businesses and people, and that the opportunities that automation and cloud presents are real and present today, where we have the core building blocks to drive real change. However, I'd say this is something that we got to continue to caution, especially as we make the choice of which cloud providers we're going to work with as we move forward. With opportunity comes challenges, right? It's just the nature of opportunity, especially with respect to security. As we become more connected, the threats become more real. With a larger surface area, the threats become increasingly complex and difficult to defend. And these bad actors, often state-sponsored, are using these same emerging technologies to wage a highly sophisticated war against us. And companies of all sizes are dealing with these persistent attacks. So there's real challenges associated with this. Let me throw a couple stats at you. It's interesting. In 85% of the cases where a breach occurred, there was a patch that was available for that breach up to a year before it happened. Now think about a system that's self-patching. There's going to be 3.5 million open cybersecurity positions by next year, And even if we could fill all those positions, people, no matter how many, can't defend against automated attacks. And another stat, in the average enterprise, they see 17,000 alerts a week. Only 19% are investigated, and only 6% are deemed reliable. So how do we separate the signal from the noise, and how do we help our customers defend against these attacks? And there's one other number which I think is really important, and that's 100%. 100% is the amount of times you have to get it right versus the bad guys, right? You look at the example of Capital One. Bad guys only have to get it right once. And so it's really important to think about our philosophical approach with respect to cloud, how we continue to take the burden off of our customers onto ourselves, how we take shared responsibility with respect to protecting our customers' core assets, treating them as if they're our own. I mean, that is our approach. And so ultimately, when you look at this, it goes back to autonomous. I mean, autonomous helps us reconcile these seemingly competing forces of reducing risk while at the same time focusing on innovation, right? It allows us to save costs and reduce risk. Today, 80% of our costs goes to maintenance and only 20% to innovation. We are flipping that status quo, and autonomous is helping us do that. And we'll talk about how we continue to extend our technologies with respect to autonomous. You know, ultimately, autonomous is doing something else that's really important too. It's fundamentally changing how we experience data. Right? What used to be simple charts and scatter plots and tables are now rich visualizations that provide deeper meaning. We can take actions based on insights that are either collected or predicted. Actions we can take that are either self-directed or automated. I mean, so think about the power of this. When we think of insights, it's not just answers to questions we ask, it's answers to questions we didn't even think to ask. Right? And that's the power of what we're talking about today. And we think ultimately this helps us really reimagine what's possible in both work and life. I mean, at Oracle, and you see examples as you walk the halls, as our customers speak on our behalf, you know, we believe technology can make a difference in the world. We've seen it. We believe in the power in enabling people. We believe that insights lead to breakthroughs and real important outcomes for both businesses and people. And so when we look at this, we have an important job. Is to help with the how. And again, I have a great job. I get to go out and speak to many customers. And I'll tell you, the conversation has been changing. A few years ago, it's sort of like, you know, what's cloud? You know, and then it's sort of like, why do I want to use cloud? What are the benefits? And it's changing to how. Like, I understand that I'm going to be adopting some form of cloud. Maybe not everything moves overnight, but some application, or I'm moving some data, or I want to leverage application development or integration or analytics. Right? Help me with the how. And ultimately, how we do that is providing a thoughtful path to cloud. One that just doesn't take them from status quo. So the difference between what we're offering and Gen 1 Cloud is, Gen 1 was about, okay, let me take my storage from my on-prem, and I'm going to move it to the cloud and just rent storage from somebody. I mean, that's okay, and you had cost savings and you had elasticity, but at the end of the day, that fundamentally didn't change how you operated as a business. It's not just about moving the data, it's about what do I do with that data once I've moved it, right? That's the power of what we're talking about. And we offer a path that spans every starting point, from applications to platform to the underlying infrastructure, as well as continue to serve our customers on-prem. And how do we do that? We do that by providing really the world's only true integrated cloud platform. I mean, cloud doesn't just mean apps. And cloud doesn't just mean compute, servers, and storage. Cloud means something much bigger, right? We merge intelligent applications where we embed intelligence into the business applications we offer our customers today. It spans autonomous database and our entire platform, and we'll talk about that, where we take intelligence like machine learning, we integrate it into our data management offering to give you the world's only self-driving database. And it's all built and runs on our Gen 2 infrastructure that supports AI, that supports autonomous, that supports these high-performance workload requirements. We also run our own applications on infrastructure. So our own needs, our own application needs, drive our own infrastructure requirements as well. Status quo and current state just weren't good enough for what we needed to do to deliver applications to our customers. And I think importantly, not to forget, is this importance of continuing to develop on-prem. We talked about the new Exadata product. I'll announce it as well. This isn't just important to continue to enhance and enrich the solutions that our customers deploy on-prem as we offer them a thoughtful path to cloud, but this is also the same foundational technology that we use in our cloud to deploy our own cloud services, to deploy our own applications. So that innovation is really important. So now what I thought I'd do is I'd just go through each one of these layers, talk about them, highlight some great customer success stories. First one is intelligent business apps. I mean, it's all about the apps. It starts with the apps. These are about seamlessly connecting businesses and people, allowing them to be more informed, productive, engaged. And we have a full suite of applications. We provide the broadest suite, the broadest enterprise suite in the market today, spanning every category. We allow you to create modern experience as well as improve business performance and productivity. We integrate AI to automate key aspects of the ongoing decision-making so we can sort of focus on what matters the most. And IoT and bots to completely personalize the user experience. And it's great if you could walk the show floor and see some of the stuff our team is working on there. It really is incredible and engaging to think about how we've changed all that. From an application suite perspective, it spans financials and procurement and product management, the entire supply chain, HR, as well as customer experience spanning sales and marketing and service. And then when you look at how we integrate AI and machine learning into these applications, we're doing some very different things than everybody else, right? We integrate into ERP, and it gives you intelligent financials, so I can automatically detect fraud via audit. I mean, this is an important thing that we're actually helping customers automate. For supply chain, I can analyze data and pricing, and I can give you the optimized requirements and recommendations. For HCM, I can create a profile of someone who's going to be great in the position, and I can automatically check that profile against a pool of tens of thousands of candidates and come up with the right set of people to contact right away. You just couldn't do that, right? And we understand how important hiring is. And then from a marketing perspective, again, it's understanding our customers' needs and interests help us to better serve them. So this is really important. The other thing I'd say, and I think you hear a lot more about it this year than in past years, is the importance of applications plus platform. It's like, when do apps stop and platform begins? When we think about connecting them together, when we think about extending and enriching the different types of applications and what they're able to do. How we can take a pool of multiple applications and on-prem data, cloud data, multiple heterogeneous cloud applications, and visualize the information across all of them. And ultimately, it's really important as we move applications to cloud, how do we think about securing those applications? How do we connect them back to what's on-prem? How do we secure hybrid cloud as well as multi-cloud? So these are all things that are part of that application transition to cloud. And I think when you see what's going on in the market too, we have competitors that are playing catch up. Trying to get the analytics piece, trying to get the integration piece. This is part of a platform that we've been offering for quite some time, and it's sort of core to what we do. From an apps innovation perspective, we made several important announcements this week. We continue to integrate this intelligence into our entire SaaS suite. We're really focused on, that first step was, I think it was like 2011, moving our Fusion apps to cloud. Talk about being one of the early cloud providers, right? And then driving this intelligence into the cloud, into these applications, and really that next step of how do we completely reimagine the experience you have with these applications? How do we make it natural to engage with them, to ask them questions, to get results and answers we want? We announced CX Unity, which is unifying on-prem data, cloud data, first-party data, third-party data, tapping into the power of AI and machine learning to give you a single 360 view of our customers. And importantly, I was really stoked about this one, right? We are taking Oracle Analytics Cloud with Oracle Database packaging it together with our Fusion applications to deliver out-of-box analytics for ERP and our other applications. Again, nobody else could do this, right? This is the power of having all these different layers that we talked about. And we're seeing great adoption across the entire stack. Mitsubishi Electric was a great example where they actually automated 10,000 tasks on their manufacturing floor, and they saw a 55% increase in productivity. Kraft Heinz moved to our HR system, our ERP system, and connected 1,500 users across 40 different countries and 5 time zones, all on one common payment management system. So you can actually see how incredible it is for these people that are getting real great benefits from this. Another couple examples I want to share. This is the Industries for the Blind and Visually Impaired. They create employment opportunities for those who have vision impairment. They adopted our entire Oracle stack, moved a bunch of disparate systems onto the full suite of Oracle applications. It provided a single integrated platform for them to access their sales and operations data and help create these important opportunities for those they're serving. And they're doing that today. And I know if you walk around, you're going to hear a lot about this example, and we're really proud about the work we're doing. And we'll come back and talk about why the why is still really important in terms of understanding what our customers are doing and how we can best help them. Another great example is RBS. Royal Bank of Scotland, almost 20 million customers around the globe. They were able to deploy new financial models in months versus what would have taken years with Oracle ERP and EPM Cloud. They achieved better insights and controls while also simplifying their processes. And they're looking at doing zero-touch automatic forecasting. So the really cool thing that I'll always tell people about this technology is it's amazing what happens when you get it in the customer's hands. I mean, they're really limited only by their imagination in terms of getting their hands on the technology and ultimately what they're able to do with it. And we'll see some amazing examples throughout. Here's a video on RBS.
At RBS, we're really customer-centric. We're really customer-focused. As part of the finance function, we want to help deliver that customer-centric approach. In order to do that in finance, we're looking at new technologies such as machine learning, chatbots, and blockchain. One of the challenges that we faced previously was to be able to model scenarios really quickly. And we weren't able to do this because of the number of spreadsheets that we had. Through the EPM Cloud, we're going really, really fast. And I'm not talking years, I'm talking months to deploy and to make our models live. So there was 5 benefits that the Royal Bank of Scotland were able to achieve. The first and a very important one was cost effectiveness. Secondly, better insight and control. Thirdly, simplifying the processes. Fourth, a continuous innovation of a system being updated on a monthly basis. And fifthly, it allows us to move towards, in the future, a zero-touch rolling forecast. Zero-touch forecasting is our aspiration. We feel that the EPM Cloud in the future will help us move to autonomous forecasts. What we mean by that is that the forecasts will run themselves. Now, we're not quite there yet, but the EPM Cloud has put a great base in place for us to start to build towards that.
I love it. Marketing team, we need to trademark autonomous forecasting. That is awesome. So again, just a real good example of a big customer really reimagining their entire business with our applications. Next is autonomous database. I know we'll hear a lot about this. It's really our flagship offering. It's a complete new category of cloud services, a complete reimagining of data management, based on automation with machine learning. So there's sort of a secret sauce to this. This is decades worth of database optimization combined with a custom policy-based machine learning engine, all running on top of our Gen 2 infrastructure. So that's what we're delivering today. And when you look at this category that we're creating, what are the attributes of it? Again, it's self-driving. So it automatically provisions, monitors, backs up, it recovers itself, it tunes. It's self-securing. We talked about that critical need around patching. To me, this is like the killer app for autonomous with respect to self-patching. And it also provides the highest level of SLAs in the market today. Less than 2 minutes of planned and unplanned downtime a month. And when we think about these attributes and how they relate to customer benefit, there's several. Again, when I'm not spending all my time on the maintenance and the management, I'm able to reduce costs as well as accelerate my time to market, but up to 80% of the ongoing costs of managing it. I'm able to reduce risk. I mean, the real costs associated with breach, right? You know, revenue, shareholder value, job loss associated with it. And again, if I'm not spending my time on maintenance, I can focus on those things that are much more important to my company around innovation. Put the resources on being more competitive and outbound facing. So there's some really important benefits here. And the benefits apply to all lines of business. I mean, finance, we see their time dominated by analytics. The best marketers are using data to drive action, right? Sales, they're using analytics to better understand their customers and better serve their customers, understand the buying behaviors, how we can better serve them. And then we're seeing an incredible growth in data with respect to HR, not only to better recruit employees, but to better retain them as well, right? Our people are our most important assets. And again, beyond LOB, we still have these really important needs around IT. 80% spend on maintenance. Almost half of the DBAs manage 100 or more databases each. I mean, at the end of the day, that just doesn't scale. And we all know if we had a critical project and we were waiting around to get database resources, that could be painful when we're trying to be competitive in a market, right? And not just trying to sort of keep up, but set the pace. And then finally, again, you see a majority of this is manual. So these are important things we're helping our customers with. With respect to autonomous database, there's two key services. There's a data warehouse. Again, this is around data warehousing, creating data lakes and data marts, both for LOB as well as for IT. The other important offering is around ATP, or autonomous transaction processing. And again, this is about millions of transactions per second. This is about mission critical databases that are moving to cloud. This is about net new app development that's happening on cloud. And it's interesting when you look at both of these things together. I know we talked about it in our recent earnings call. You know, over 40% of the use cases are net new deployments. So this is net new application development. This is net new analytics being created, as well as having some traditional workloads move to cloud to get the benefits of autonomous. So we're seeing it across. We have serverless as well as dedicated, isolated private databases for those who require the utmost security. So this is an incredible offering for us in terms of our strategy and what we've announced this week. There's several. So the first one is like, how do you eliminate complexity? We talk about the manual processes and what we're able to do with autonomous. We've taken that same autonomous approach and we've applied it to the important piece of the stack, which is the operating system. Larry talked about it yesterday. I'll go through that in a little bit more detail. And as we said, with some of our competitors, you have to use 8, 9, 10 different database versions to do what we can do in a single converged database. Again, that goes to simplifying the overall experience and reducing complexity. Security, we talked about that at the OS level, at the database level, integrating blockchain, self-patching, data masking, application access control. Right? This is a really important area for us. And again, I just urge customers as they think about moving to cloud and as they think about who to partner with as they move to cloud, you know, step back and really look at that provider's philosophical approach with respect to cloud, how we approach it and what we're implementing as well. I think it's a really important differentiator for us. And again, we do all this while we're moving the limits, fully elastic, free services, cloud customer, which gives you the freedom to deploy on-prem, our cloud behind your firewall, or leverage the firewall. Only Oracle gives choice of deployment, and we do that because that's how our customers are deploying. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, and so we have to provide choice for our customers. So really exciting things going on there. From an innovations perspective, there were several big announcements. We did talk about dedicated autonomous database, again, for levels of security, isolation, and those who have strict operational policies. Exadata Cloud at Customer, now available on our Gen 2 infrastructure. We also announced that we'll be delivering autonomous database cloud at Customer in the near future. And we talked about the enhancements that we've made based on persistent memory, Rocky delivering 12 million IOPS per second. So the innovation we continue to do for our on-prem solutions pay massive benefits with respect to our cloud deployment as well. And so really exciting work we've done. With respect to our customers, I mean, we've had so much success. Thousands of customers who've purchased or are trying autonomous technologies today. You have a company like Hertz. They went from taking 2 weeks to provision a database down to 8 minutes. We have partners like Accenture who did a third-party independent test and found autonomous to be 14 times faster than anything out there in the market. Right? So it's time to answers, it's time to results, it's more secure, and it's also higher performing. So really good benefits there. Couple of customers to talk to. One is TaylorMade, leading golf manufacturer. I'm the worst golfer in history, by the way. I'm like Happy Gilmore back there. I honestly just try to whack the hell out of it. Once you had kids too, it was just too much of a time sink. So we just spend all day in our pajamas playing Fortnite, which I guess that might be better than being on the golf course. But they use ADW to move, EBS, ERP to OCI, a terabyte size database, and they're able to reduce their costs by 40%. And doing so, they also saw a 40 times increase in performance. And they'll tell you that now we can spend less time maintaining and managing and more time aligning with the business needs and focusing IT on higher value tasks. The next one is Jasky Software. So they're a SaaS warehouse management software provider. They support billions of transactions a day. They use ATP to scale mission-critical applications and do sub-second order fulfillment. They saw a 100x improvement in database performance moving to autonomous ATP. And in doing so, they also reduced human error and automated their disaster recovery as well. Here's a great video from Jasky.
Jasky is a next-generation cloud platform to modernize supply chains. To meet the expectations of our customers of speed, efficiency, and reliability, we implemented Oracle's Autonomous Transaction Processing Database. Some of the performance improvements we're seeing leveraging the ATP database platform have been phenomenal. 100 times performance improvements. Database performance is critical to our customers as we may be driving complex AI decisions at the transactional level that needs to be done in milliseconds. We may be communicating to real-time workforces or robotics that are waiting for responses. We are seeing results of being able to process twice as many orders with half the labor in the same amount of time. Instead of managing databases and infrastructure, we're now able to focus our attention on building and innovating new levels of technology.
So that endpoint, right? That focus on spending the time on creating innovative technology. And we didn't make up that 100 times performance increase too, right? You heard it there. Next is infrastructure. This is our second generation cloud infrastructure that again is foundational to the services we provide today. And when you look at it, when we were coming into the market, we took a good look at what was out there. And, again, status quo just wasn't good enough. We needed something that was not only architected for the enterprise, but also did support innovation in ways we knew we needed. Right, so again, our infrastructure that we're delivering to market today was driven by some of our own requirements as well. And when you look at being architected for the enterprise, what do we mean? We need high performance compute and scale. We need the levels of governance, control, and security that you couldn't find in Gen 1 clouds. We need to be able to simply migrate all workloads, Oracle as well as non-Oracle. Right, we needed open interoperability and a multi-cloud approach, and we'll talk about what we announced there with Microsoft and VMware. We come from a heterogeneous environment where you have to work with everything, right? Every hardware provider, every software provider. We simply took that same philosophy and same approach, and we brought it with us to cloud. These Gen 1 cloud providers just didn't come from that background. And that's why you'll see a level of lock-in with those providers that you won't see with us and some of the major partners that we announced. And then we continue to expand rapidly across all regions and have a unique approach to our DR. And by the end of 2020, we'll have more disaster recovery zones than Amazon has today. So this is real, massive, fast build out. When you look at cloud infrastructure, it spans all these base requirements around compute, but that's for traditional as well as HPC workload, networking, storage, security. We continue to address, again, not only users, and our identity is the new perimeter, but also applications, data, and the network infrastructure itself. And then finally, we continue to support our developers with a broad range of development services, including cloud native, open source, serverless, bring your own containers to cloud. So it's really important we continue to meet the needs of a really important group for us. And then with respect to OCI momentum, I think you heard a lot about it so far, right? Global data center expansion. I think in the last 100 days, we announced Brazil and Japan and others, Australia. So we're excited about that momentum, and we published yesterday how we're going to continue to expand it. Growing momentum with the ISV ecosystem, including the likes of McAfee, to address security. A growing marketplace that Clay talked about earlier today. Cloud interoperability with Microsoft, again, where you can move workloads back and forth or leverage technologies on both clouds and do that seamlessly, as well as the announcement we made last night with VMware, where you can basically lift and shift your VMware stack to Oracle. Again, it's about making it simple for our customers. And then as we announced as well, taking this autonomous technology and bringing it to Linux. Right, so not only is the data management layer automated, but now we have the operating system automated as well. Right, so really excited about that. But one thing I'll say is like a Gen 2 cloud is more than just infrastructure services. So again, it's important for us to remember the application development, right? The integration of Oracle as well as non-Oracle data and applications, the rich analytics that we bring to market, security spanning all layers of cloud and all different potential attack points, and then the autonomous database itself. So we're really excited about that. From an OCI perspective, we continue to see adoption. Cisco is a company that actually moved off of AWS to Oracle and saw a 15x improvement in CPU utilization and a 60x improvement in performance. OceanX is a loyalty rewards company who also moved off of Amazon, and they saw a 10x improvement in performance. FireEye processes millions of emails a day. They were able to improve performance by over a third, but also reduce their DR costs by half. So again, we're seeing great benefits in terms of performance as well as cost savings. TrueGreen is a great example of a company who's doing just this. They moved a legacy J.D. Edwards application to OCI. They're a leader in lawn care, serve 200 branches across the US. They migrated J.D. Edwards and database to OCI for greater reliability and support. They wanted to get out of the data center business. Their performance increased by a factor of 5x to 0.07 seconds average response time. And again, they increased their performance while reducing their cost and reducing risk. So I mean, the benefits are amazing. So now what I'd like to do is introduce a couple of customers who are going to be joining me on stage. And I'm really excited that they're here to share their journey to cloud and how Oracle is helping them with that journey. First is Outfront. Outfront is a leader in US outdoor advertising. They were actually spun out of CBS. They have almost 500,000 or more digital and static billboards. They used ADW and analytics to ingest a terabyte of data and process it in 30 minutes versus what used to take them weeks. This self-tuning is actually amazing. It used to take them days to process a complex pricing query. The first time they ran it in an autonomous database, it ran at 6 minutes. And then autonomous database self-tuned it down to 2 seconds. Right, so just sort of amazing performance as well. And they increased their productivity. And as you'll hear from Derek, they're able to do really incredible things that they just weren't able to do before. So please join me in welcoming Derek Hayden, who's the VP of Data Strategy and Analytics for Outfront. Derek,
How you doing, Steve?
Good to be joined. I think
for
Derek
having
and I
me.
were on stage together back at the big user group conference a while ago. So,
Collaborate, yeah.
Yeah, man, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us
thanks
again.
for having me again.
Yeah, it's great. And it's a great story. You know, there's an incredible change you're driving. Maybe you could start by just level setting people quickly on outdoor media. You know, there was sort of a unique challenge with being spun out, which also meant unique opportunities. Maybe sort of give us a background.
Yeah, we're a 5-year-old company, but we have a legacy of, being part of CBS Corporation. But we've seen a real change in the media landscape over the last 5 years. So the first thing when we were spun off is we had all sorts of new reporting needs. And we didn't have a data center, we didn't have an analytics team. So we had a lot of IT noise, and we had people kind of doing things out in the business lines to get data. So we realized we needed to have an analytics strategy, and we leaned on Oracle Cloud because we didn't have data center. We spun it up Oracle Cloud for analytics, and within 5 weeks we had production dashboards into the business.
That's amazing. And I know you're one of the early adopters of an autonomous database. So can you talk to sort of the deployment, in addition to the analytics and what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, so we had a good 3-year run with cloud database. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great foundational asset. But I think you said there's patching and there's backup and that type of thing. And I don't have any DBAs on my team. We don't have any DBAs on staff. So shifting to autonomous made a lot of sense. I think you mentioned the self-tuning query. We had spent 6 months shutting down any delivery on our data warehouse to start tuning it because we got caught up in the euphoria of delivering all this new dashboard fun stuff. And we kind of lost our way in the warehouse. So with autonomous, when we brought it in, obviously we saw some improvements in speed. My team can focus on data strategy, and we get new data sources. So we have a third-party media spend that we subscribe to, and this is data that we're not really that familiar with. We brought that into ADW, and it was really amazing. It was basically a 1-week deployment. So we spun it up, we loaded data, and we had, in OAC, we had dashboards already out into the business within 1 week.
That's amazing. And I know we talked about this before, but you talked about sort of the customer facing, serving the customers, giving your customers data that sort of wasn't even possible to collect before, and how that's changing your business. Can you talk?
Yeah, I mean, our model is changing. We're not just the side of the road billboard company anymore. We've got assets in transit systems. We've got digital assets. New York, we have 50,000 digital screens going into the New York transit. So obviously we need to optimize our ad placement. We have to understand who's going where. And we need to be collaborative with our advertisers to say, maybe you can shift your media spend into outdoor and it'll perform better.
Yeah. And so last question, you talked about shifting and your resources and focusing on higher value tasks. You sort of talk about what you mean by that and the impact that that's having on your business?
Yeah, I mean, we actually are no longer called IT. We're actually a technology services within the company. So we're actually more of a services approach. And we're really embedded with the business. So we really go in there, we understand what they need. There's a lot of top-down collaboration from the executives down into the business line. So we're able to deliver exactly what they want, the messaging that they're looking for, and everyone's looking at the same data. So, I mean, from that standpoint, we're looked at as a huge asset within the company.
Awesome. Derek, thank you so much for sharing the story with us.
Thanks.
Really appreciate
it. Thanks.
All right, join me in welcoming you. All right, next I'm going to be joined by Gap, and this is an incredible story. I mean, this really is sort of how they're innovating in amazing ways, right? So it's incredible. They're using all layers of the Oracle Cloud to fundamentally change things, developing new applications faster, improving their data quality, and innovating in ways they just couldn't before. And joining me is Connie Santelli, who's the Vice President of Enterprise Systems in Emerging Markets. When we first kicked off Autonomous, I was lucky enough to have Connie join me at a Larry event, and I'm thrilled to have her back today. Please join me in welcoming Connie. How's it going?
Hey, Steve.
Oh, it's so good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you for
Man, it's
having
like
me.
life's going fast, man. We feel like we just did this.
Yeah,
but
not too long
It was
ago.
a little while ago. It's like when we were first launching Autonomous. And, you know, can we start with, I mean, Gap's such an interesting example in just the retail market in general. Can you talk about some of the things going on with respect to the retail market? You know, sort of it's changing at a rapid pace. You know, there's new ways you need to be able to address digital as well as online. Can you talk about how that's changing?
Sure. So you're right. It is highly competitive and constantly evolving, but especially in the specialty retail business that we're in fashion. And so it makes it really a fun place to be because there's a lot going on all the time and trying to stay up with the trends. And so it's really, really great time to be in the business that we're in. And so you're right about the evolution. We're trying to find ways in which we want to engage in our customers in the way that they want to engage with us, create the experience both on commerce platforms and in brick and mortar stores. And so that change is happening all the time, and so we have to respond to it and be quick to respond to it. And so we're trying to leverage platforms, and cloud being part of that, to be able to expand and build that foundation that we can build on to create and innovate on to be able to meet the the needs and the experience that our customers want us to engage at across the market.
A core to probably all that is data. We were just sort of talking about
a lot
that.
of data.
So can you sort of talk about how you're combining new data with historical data, current data to get that full view together to better serve your customers?
Sure. It's particularly in our space, right? Data is key. It's the nirvana. But being able to really leverage it insightfully is really important. And so, you know, we look at things across at a macro level in the markets and geographically what's going on and what's happening in fashion trends and even demographics of where to put a store, for example. I mean, all that's key. And then as you drill down into the sales data or loyalty information, you know, what's the performance of a product? How is that working? How do we judge our loyalty of our customers so that we can keep repetitive, customers coming back versus, a single buy? What's the key to unlock those kind of things over time? And then even just, again, the product performance and how that informs our supply chain from the beginning to the end. Well, what are we going to manufacture? How do we be responsive so we're bringing the right product to the customer, how she wants to buy it? And it's a very deep knowledge of data that we need to be able to leverage that to be insightful on how to manage and be successful in the business.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We were talking earlier, and it's interesting. We made this announcement with Microsoft, and we talked about sort of interoperability. And I get asked a lot, like, why did you guys do that? Like, what drove that? Oracle and Microsoft? Is it just sort of a press release thing? Can you sort of talk about the importance from your perspective?
Sure. We started our journey some time ago. I think I shared with you about 3 to 4 years ago about trying to get out of the data center business and trying to move our workloads into the cloud. And so we have a very deep Oracle background. We run a lot of products on Oracle databases, and we have a lot of Oracle products in our house that we run at applications. And so we wanted to start to migrate them as well as some of the other workloads that we have. And so we're very excited about the news about the partnership between Microsoft and Oracle because it allows us to more seamlessly lift onto the cloud platforms, which has been our strategy for some time now. And so as we're building them out, we're looking for ways to be able to innovate, to create high availability, high resilience platforms. And so it's the growth. We expect that to be the foundation of the growth of our companies and our businesses for time to come. So we're really excited. Couldn't come at a better time for us.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like last question as we sort of look forward and you think about what you need to do, sort of how you're, again, sort of blending the virtual and the physical. How do you see Oracle Cloud playing a role in sort of your direction going forward?
Yeah. Again, right, you want to be able to have a really highly profitable fleet of stores as well as, robust commerce business and marketplaces in which we operate. So it's key that we can really accelerate in all those areas. And the ways that we're trying to do that is to leverage technology. How do we create things such as digital assistants in terms of styling? How do you leverage mobile in the stores? Do we have mobile checkout people can check out in the dressing room, things like that. So the technology is just key and an unlock for us in terms of being able to create the experiences that they want to have, both e-commerce wise and in the stores. And so again, the cloud platforms are going to be what allows us to do that, because we're looking for ways, again, to scale, but having platforms that allow us to use tools to have that kind of flexibility, to leverage all kinds of things that are, at our fingertips, to be able to build those kind of great opportunities of, experiences across any of them with lots of ways to do that.
Thank you so much. I mean,
My
at the end of the day, it's not our story, it's your
Yep.
story, and we appreciate you sharing that with everybody
Well,
today.
thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Good
Hopefully
to
we'll
see
do
you
this
again.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good to see
for
you.
sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. So again, just, real great examples of what we're doing in the market today. And retail is just one of the really great examples of how we continue to serve industries in different ways. We invest almost $1 billion a year in creating custom solutions for industries, as well as, leveraging our entire cloud offering. If you look at all our GBUs combined, I think we're the 4th largest ISV in the world. And it's actually interesting, again, we've already had 40 of our own GBU applications migrate to Oracle Cloud and OCI. So this is a really important one for us. Healthcare is important as well. And, at the end of the day, this is about driving outcomes for both businesses as well as people. It's really important for us to understand our customers as well as who they serve and how we can best help them. There's one great story I want to share with you. This is Narayana Health. They're an India-based hospital that supports heart-related pediatric issues. They serve 20,000 customers a day. 20,000 customers a day. And they're focused on using technology to help them save costs so they don't have to turn anyone away for their lack of ability to afford care. Here's a great story. This is Narayana Health.
1 out of 140 children born anywhere in the world has a heart problem.
Narayana Health started with a single mission: to build a hospital that would never have to turn anyone away for lack of funds. NH sees 20,000 patients a day, and they generate billions of lines of data.
All our data system is on a cloud.
Oracle helps us crunch all that data and enables our decision makers to run a very cost-efficient organization. What technology allows us to do is to bring standardization. And standardization can reduce error, it can improve quality, and ultimately make healthcare safer.
I'm a doctor. My job is saving lives and helping people. But when you run a hospital with a wafer-thin margin, you need to be very careful about your financial health. We need to have reliable data, real time, so you can take major decisions. We believe in God, but for everything else we need data.
I love it. So again, I think for us it's important. I love that. It's important, right, for us to understand the why, to never forget the why, and ultimately as we understand the why, we can better help with the how, right? So that's what it's about, understanding why our customers are doing, what they're trying to achieve, and how we can best help them, right? So that's what it gets to. It was sort of interesting if you think about it, like, Oracle did start out as a little company with a big idea. We thought companies that set out to change the world should stand for something that matters. This is actually our first office, and this was our first signage. We started out as software development laboratories over 40 years ago. And while I think the signage has got maybe arguably better, I kind of like that retro look. At the end of the day, some things never change. We're still on that same journey. It's about connecting businesses and people to information. And ultimately, it's about empowering people to innovate, inspiring them to create in ways they couldn't before. Last example I want to share with you is one that's close to us. We talk a lot about Oracle on Oracle, and there's some great examples of what we're doing there. This is one of our own developers who actually is using our technology as a developer evangelist, who's using our technology to drive change for something that's really close to home. Let me roll this video for you.
One of the biggest pains that you face when it comes to, besides the injections, what's one of the pains of having diabetes?
Counting carbs.
Yeah, it's a big pain, right? So I wanted to ask you, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna actually demo this app at my conference in September, And I wanted to know if you'd be okay with me telling your story to people. Yeah? Okay. I just want to help other people who may have this disease and maybe inspire them to build some more things that are pretty cool and help out, people with needs and make their lives easier. And use technology to help people rather than just for like social or games or stuff like that, right?
Oh man, please join me in welcoming Todd Sharp, our developer evangelist for Oracle. Thanks, brother. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh man, that's such a great story, and honestly, thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thanks for having me.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about sort of, the state of the art. What are you sort of dealing with respect to fighting that disease, and what sort of drove your approach?
Sure. When it comes to diabetes management, I really kind of think of it as like two different processes. There's like an analog process and what I consider like a digital process. So for the analog process, and I'm sure there's probably many folks with that have knowledge of diabetes and maybe even some diabetics in the audience. But so the analog process is like manual finger pricks and using glucose monitors to measure their blood sugar levels. Manual injections, manually looking up how many carbs are in the food they're about to eat, right? And then there's what I call like the digital process, where we're really seeing some advances in technology in this field with things like continuous glucose monitors, so they can wear these little wearables that read their glucose throughout the day, insulin pumps that provide constant and on-demand doses of insulin throughout the day. But really, when you look at the landscape, there's kind of a missing piece, and the missing piece is that regardless of whether they're doing manual injections or they have pumps, they still have to manually count their carbs in order to determine their insulin dose. So that's really kind of the problem that I saw and that I really wanted to address with this application that I built.
So let's talk about that application. What did you develop?
So what I built was an application that allows diabetics to determine their whatever carbs that are in the food they're about to eat, right? So it uses things like image recognition and OCR technologies, optical character recognition, and speech to text. And it uses those things to identify the food that's about to be eaten for the meal. And then what it does is it goes to the USDA's database and it pulls the nutritional information. But the really cool thing is that the next step is it pairs up with like a scale via Bluetooth and allows you to weigh your portion size, and it takes that directly into the application, because I don't know if you've ever tried to like measure a cup of chopped apples or egg noodles. Do you measure it before you cook it?
I have a problem with portion control for sure.
I know the feeling, trust me.
It's a constant struggle.
So it allows you to get that exact portion size, right? Instead of guessing, because this is a big deal. I mean, you're using this to calculate your insulin, and if you're off, this could be overdose or underdose. And then it pairs up with Bluetooth with the glucose monitor, and it pulls in your blood sugar. And so it uses all those things to determine the insulin dose that needs to be delivered to the diabetic. And it really lets them take the time to focus on things. Well, what I hope that it will do is to focus less on managing diabetes and focus more on, at least for my daughter, being a teenager, right?
No, understood. And just last question, just in terms of the technology behind the application, can you talk a little bit? Being a developer, evangelist, probably get closer.
So I'm glad you saved a half hour for us.
Yeah, no. We'll be rolling out the demo now, but maybe quickly talk about what you did.
So basically, Oracle enabled me in two different ways to build this application. And one to me is, and I was thrilled to watch your presentation in the back because I have so many tie-ins with what you said. One is Oracle's commitment and contributions to open source and the open source community. So things like the Java programming language, the Helidon framework, Oracle REST data services on top of autonomous database. Those things helped me develop the application really quickly, right? So I built it in 2 weeks as opposed to, it might have normally taken me 2 months to build it. And the other thing is just the ease and flexibility. And I'm not a marketing guy, right? I'm a developer. But the ease and flexibility of Oracle Cloud just enabled me to deploy it really quickly. And so the reason that's important to me, right, is that I could take less time focusing on the development and deployment and more time on the motivation behind the application, right? Right. So what I really want to depart is that as developers, we have access to so much technology, AI, machine learning. We have so many skills and abilities as developers that, you know, it's great that we build these ERP applications or, you know, some of the amazing technology that we built today as developers that we saw today. But what I really want to encourage people and inspire people, hopefully, to do is to find something that you're passionate about. You know, whether it affects you directly, it affects you indirectly, maybe it doesn't affect you at all, but let's use this technology and our skills to make this world a better place, to make it a safer place, you know? And that's really what I hope to get across today.
I appreciate it, Tom.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you so much, man.
Thank
I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Take care. Thank you.
Wow, man. I definitely have beard envy, too. I was telling that to Todd earlier. So again, you know, I think, you know, what's really exciting is that we have 130,000 employees that are focused on really sharing our customers' journeys to cloud. And I mean, Todd is just like one amazing example of that. And I see a lot of faces in the room as well that I get to work with every day who try to advance the causes of our customers. And what I'd say is, you know, in a world where autonomous technology can be delegated to robots and computers, these things around empathy, aspiration, and human creativity, they remain a human pursuit, right? They remain our pursuit, and you know that's what we're here to do, right? Help our customers move forward with, you know, not only their whys, but how we can help them do that. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and please enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you.